Okay, so the slides is up now. So as you can see, our topic for the day is Introduction to Plug Valve and Applications. So in the past, I believe in the past week, our Mr. Sim has presented to you all about the diaphragm valve. So this week, we are going to have a look on the plug valve and what's the application. So without further ado, let's go into our presentation of today. So what is plug valve? Does any one of you heard about plug valve before? Or if yes, maybe you can type a 1 + 1 so that I can know if you actually know about plug valve or not. I see Louis Kong here. Giraffe got a name. Hiya, Nola. Okay, anyone? Plug valve. What is plug valve? Do you know about plug valve? The comment is not overwhelming yet. Huh? Okay, I will just assume none of you know about plug valve, so I will go into a very simple presentation so that perhaps after this, you can know a little bit about what is this. Okay, plug valve is a valve with cylindrical or conically tapered plug. So the disc or the closure member shaped like a plug. So meaning to say, normally you see the closure member of a ball valve, there's a ball, a rounded shape of the closure member. So it's called a ball valve. So same for the plug valve, the disc shape is like a plug inside. I will show the pictures later. Hopefully you can have a more clearer picture about that. So plug valve rotate inside the valve body, same as other valves, is to control the flow through the valve. The plug valve actually has the hollow passageway in between of it, so it's going sideways through the plug. So fluid, when the plug valve is open, the fluid can flow through the valve, can flow through the passageway. Okay, so let's have a look on how a plug valve looks like. Okay, let me just confirm here, if everyone can see. Okay, I see you, Wai Chong, saying that, okay, got the plug in the middle. Yes, that's correct. So now you can see there's a taper plug in between. I don't think my pointer is showing out. So you can see from the cross section here, the plug valve have a plug as the closure member. Okay, other than closure member, the construction also resembles the other type of valve. You can see here, the ball valve actually have the body, have the stem after the plug, or meaning to say the stem is attached to the plug itself, as well as the covers and the flanges. It's a standard one. It's standard to all other valves. Consists of body, seats, stem, packing, closure member, or normally we call the disc. So the stem is typically attached to the larger diameter end of the plug. You can see the plug is tapered down the valve. So the stem definitely is attached to the larger part of the plug itself. Okay. This should be a clearer picture so you can see about it when the valve is open. So the simplest and most common type of plug valve that we can find is actually a two-port valve. What's two-port valve? Later we will show you there's a few types of other plug valve. So two-port valve meaning to say there is only two positions for the valve. One is either open to allow the flow or closed to stop the flow. Simple as it. So the port open in the valve through so the fluid can enter or leave the plug. The plug has only one passageway for two-port valve. The ports are typically at the opposite end of the body, meaning to say when there is a hollow passageway over here, there is another hollow passageway in another opposite of the plug. So because of the plug valve can only rotate a quarter of a full turn, or what we normally call a quarter turn valve. So it is called a quarter. Actually, plug valve is a quarter turn valve, 90 degrees. let me show you. I hope this video can be played. Okay. So this animation you can see is a very, very simple construction. The plug over here, when it's open, the flow will go through, which means the lever is perpendicular to the body itself. When it's closed, which is, just now it's parallel. When it's perpendicular, so the plug is closed, so flow is not able to pass through. When it's open, you also can see there's a hollow part over here, as well as the opposite side. Okay. So plug valve, how you identify it from the P&ID. So the symbol of the plug valve as shown in the picture is having the fill, these two symbols, as well as during the isometric symbol, there is a butt weld ends, flange end, and socket weld ends. Just the middle of the symbol is a little bit different to differentiate with the other valves. Okay, let me see some comment. Okay, what's the port pattern in the plug valve? As just now I say, normally we see it's a rectangular port. It's a rectangular as the first one, but actually it has other shape, like diamond or round ports. So rectangular port is also the most common port that we can find in the plug valve. After that, it comes from the round port, full or reduced. The round port can become in a full or reduced bowl. And of course, the diamond port, which is, sometimes it's called a venturi port as well, which is venturi restricted. Normally, it's for throttling service. Other than this, we also have multi-port. Just now we say about two-port valve. You see from the previous slide, it's a two-port valve. Actually, when there is 3 or more, we call multi-port, which is for more pipe connections. You can see from here, 3-port or 4-port. Okay. So just now we said about different ports of the valves. Now we're going to say about different types of the plug valve. So what's the different type of the plug valves that you can know about? Anyone? Okay, the first one I already showed is a lubricated plug valve. If anyone can make a guess, what's the second one would be? What's the opposite for a lubricated plug valve? Let me see. There could be a 15-second delay. So let's see if someone is able to give the second one. What's come after lubricated plug valve? The opposite is? Okay. Opposite is non-lubricated plug valve. Then we as well, you can see here, lubricated plug valve and non-lubricated plug valve. Later a bit, I will describe a bit. You can see over here, lubricated plug valve and is much more dirtier than the non-lubricated plug valve. Why so? Later I will explain. There's another two types of plug valves, which is eccentric plug valve as well as expanding plug valve. So lubricated plug valve, why would it be more dirtier compared to non-lubricated? So because it's using a lubricant or sealant to ease their operation, meaning to say the lubrication, there's a lubrication film which is used between the plug and the body to provide a sealing for the valve. So because every time this lubricant has to be injected into the valve, so you can see that why this is the problem. This is the reason that it caused the valve looks more dirtier compared to a non-lubricated plug valve. This lubricant or sealant is served to protect the metal surface between the plug and the body to avoid them from corrosion as well and to reduce friction. The next one is, of course, non-lubricated plug valve. So if lubricated plug valve is using a lubricant to provide the protection, then how's a non-lubricated plug valve? So non-lubricated plug valve is normally for lower pressure lines, and actually they contain a thin elastomeric body or sleeve installed within the body cavity. So the plug acts like a wedge and tend to press the sleeve against the body. And the sleeve will reduce the friction between the plug and the body. So just now the lubricated plug valve is using the lubricant to protect the plug and the metal surface of the body. But for non-lubricated, they are using the elastomeric liner. Next one is eccentric plug valve. I wonder why I don't have some pictures to show after this, so I can have a better explanation. But anyhow, it's fine. Let me see some of the comment. Yeah, Wai Chong comment. Wow, quite similar to ball valve. Just rotate 90 degree to open or close. Correct. Plug valve is a 90 degree valve or quarter turn valve. Sim say about the motion of plug valve is similar to ball valve. Any advantage or reason to select plug valve comparing to ball valve? I have a comparison, but I don't think there's a comparison of a ball valve and the plug valve itself. Let me see later on my slides, we will have the explanation for this or not. Okay, before that, so we continue about the different types of the plug valve. The next one is eccentric, which is a half plug design. For application, require higher seating force with minimal friction from open to close. And the eccentric plug valve actually have improved shut-off capabilities. Next one is, expanding plug valve. So expanding plug valve is more complex in design, which allow the plug to expand mechanically and give it a really true double block and bleed, or normally we call a DBB valve. A mechanism that rotates between the open and closed position and protect valve seal from floor part. This is what we talk about expanding plug valve. So the body and the seal does not actually contact each other during the rotation of the valve, of the plug itself, to avoid the wear or abrasion to the seals. So next we go into the application of the plug valve. Sorry that I might not, I also just realized I have less picture towards the end of the slides. I should add more pictures so that you all can have a better understanding rather than just the words. Okay, so application of plug valve. What plug valve is used for? So actually it's suitable for service such as air, gas, vapor, used in slurry or sewage system or mineral oil, even for oil piping system. It's also suitable for vacuum and high pressure application, even though they are usually used in low pressure, as what we just now said, low pressure or low temperature service. The majority of plug valve are used in, for example, directional flow control, efficient handling of gas and liquid fuel, as well for safely handling of extreme temperature flow, like the valve to be used for boiler feed water or condensate. Let me see. Is there any other comments popping out? Okay. Other than that, the plug valve also used to regulate the flow of liquids, which contain suspended solids like slurries. Now I'm talking about the advantage of plug valves. Hopefully this answers Mr. Sim's question, but let me see if what I've prepared has directly answered the question. Okay, so what's the advantage of a plug valve? First of all, it's a very simple design with fewer parts. Actually, it's the same like a ball valve. It's simple in design. And it's also fast action from open to close or from close to open. So meaning to say you just make a 90-degree turn, it will comes from fully open to fully closed or another way around. Inline maintenance is also possible, meaning to say you don't need to interrupt your production, especially the operator, they don't need to have their production being interfered when they want to do maintenance for this plug valve. They also offer minimum resistance to a flow. But some people, some of them, they want to reduce the flow, so they will use a reduced pot meaning to say just now we see the round, there is a full bore or reduced. If you don't want to have the resistance to the flow, you can just use a full bore. Plug valve also provides reliably tight service. And for the multi-port design, actually it reduces the number of valves needed. Just now you see there's a 3-port or 4-port. So when there's a few pipelines you want to divert from the you want to divert your inline input of the flow into several outputs or several downstreams. Actually, multi-port plug valve can act as such a function. So to reduce the number of the plug valves, or else you need to have a piping, you need to bend it over here and there to achieve the several downstream flow. But using a plug valve multi-port, you can avoid or get rid of this use of the more numbers of valve. It also permits change in the flow directions. So when it flows in, it can change in 90 degree, or you want it to flow straight in a 180 degree, or even you want to divert it to 700 degrees. So what's the disadvantage of plug valve? Let me see. Can plug valve operate using actuator? Yes, plug valve can be operate using an actuator. Okay. So what's the disadvantage? Well, you see some firing is coming up. So it required greater force to operate due to the comparatively high friction. Okay, less preferable for throttling service. Because the plug valve is possible to cause inappropriate liner material or line release area, result in the swelling of the PTFE liner, which this inappropriate of the line material release when the swelling of the PTFE liner, it will cause a damage to your packing or the soft part of your valve, which will cause a more frequent maintenance. The next disadvantage is comparatively higher cost than ball valve for given size and class. So I'm not sure if this line is able to, but this is from commercial point of view. This is why the motion of plug is similar to the ball valve. Any advantage of reason to select plug valve comparing? Okay, you are asking about the advantage or reason of selecting plug valve compared to a ball valve. So no, actually, because you see the disadvantage here, if talking about a same size, same functions, and same pressure class, same materials for the plug valve, actually it costs higher as compared to a ball valve. So I think that's the reason why in the market itself, you can see that ball valve is more commonly used instead of plug valves. You don't normally see people asking for a plug valve for 1 or 2 inch. But maybe if close to the boiler, feed water, those with a high temperature, maybe plug valve will be of a better choice. But if you are looking into it, it's really subjective, I would say. If let's say the user is looking it in a long duration, meaning to say they are more looking into the OPEX themselves, they will opt for the plug valve because it's more economical because of the reliability of the plug valve. And when you look into the total cost of running the valve, actually plug valve is having a more lower cost compared to a ball valve. Ball valve, yes, maybe in the beginning is more cheaper in price, but in later on it will have higher maintenance costs. Okay, I see here. Let me see if there is some other comments. Select plug valve compared to ball valve. Okay, the question is no. I don't think I received any new comments because I believe today's session is very fast and I just give a really brief. Actually, we can go into a more detail what is actually a double block and lead valve, how actually is the working principle of the expanding plug valve, how actually their design is, and why is the plug valve is less preferable for throttling the real fluid mechanics that you can see in the in the mechanism itself. But I try not to go into a very deep. Today it's just serve like because plug valve normally people will pop in their mind how actually plug valve is. So today I just want to give a very simple idea what is actually a plug valve. Okay, I don't see any question. If not, because we are towards the end, is there any other questions? Another 1 minute? If not, then I might want to finish there. Let me see if there is any. Okay, I believe there is no specific question because today's is a very simple and straightforward that you can see how actually what is actually a plug valve. Why normally people call it a plug valve, and as well as how the construction is and how many ports it have. Maybe 2 ports, rectangular, diamond shape, round shape. For the round shape, they have the reduced port, they have the full port, as well as what's the advantages and disadvantages of the plug valve. Let me see. Does Turcomp supply plug valve? Yes, we supply plug valve, but I will not say what's the name that we have because today is what's the brand that we supply because today is for technical session. Just a very simple technical session that can share to you all so that you can have a better idea. Maybe towards the next our presentation during the product presentation on Wednesday, we can share some commercially why what's the brand that we supply and why our brand is good. Okay, believe there is no question. It's either 2 reasons. It's either you fully understand or you fully not understand what I'm saying about. Okay, anyhow, I would like to thanks to everyone for taking your time to attend for this introduction to the plug valve and the application. I hope that next time you can always request you want to listen about, okay, let's say why an eccentric plug valve or why a reduced port or why should I select double block and bleed? What application more prefer for lubricated or non-lubricated? So, okay. I think that's all from me. And thanks everyone.